Okay, so in this video, I'll try to demonstrate how important exactly are arrays. I'm going to do some basic examples of something you would want to do, and we'll see exactly why using arrays is very important. So let's start with something basic. Let's try to create a script that will just calculate our profit here in this column over here. So basically what we're trying to accomplish, this should say profit, and it would just be, let's take sales and minus cost of goods and get the total. And again, this would be an example of something we would want to do for the whole column, right? So let's try to accomplish something like this using a script, and then we'll see the difference between doing this the right way and the wrong way. So I'm gonna go to my script editor. Here we go. So in this script editor, we'll go ahead and create our spreadsheet variables. So there it is. I'm going to create also a variable for our active sheet. That's good. Now we have our variable. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a loop that will just go and calculate sales minus cost of goods and basically place this over here. So our loop needs to start from row 2, as you can see over here, and keep going until the end, right? So for now, I'll do something short. So we'll go from row 2 to row 15. So that would be a basic for loop. Okay, so semicolon here. That's good. So that's going to start from the second row here, roll to row 15 in here, right? So let's try to now do the rest. So we need to see what the sales value is. Sales is located 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, column number 5. So I'm going to create a variable, and I'll go inside of our active sheet, get range, and then the row will be I, which is the current row we're in, and the column will be 5. And we're gonna get the value. So let's also get our value for cost of goods. I'm just gonna copy this line. And I believe it was column 6. Yeah, so next column. So that should get us cost of goods. Now I'm going to create another variable here. We'll call it profit, and that would be sales minus our cost of goods. That will be our profit. And finally, we would take that profit and place it in this cell over here, and that's column number, let's see, 9. Okay, so and we need to set the value to whatever this profit is supposed to be. Save this. This should get us what we need, so I'm going to run this. So it took a little bit. Let's see. So you can see how we have all our numbers here. So let's also add profit in this first column, the actual text profit. So to speed this up, that should happen before our loop. I'll just go on top here, and that would be the first column, and the text we'll set to text profit. Good. So I'm going to run this again. Go back here. There we are. So now we're going to run this for the entire spreadsheet, right? So let's see how many rows we have here. So we have 4,989 rows. So I'm going to go back here and do that number. Obviously, there's probably a better way to get this number. We could get the last row, but that's not really the point of this video. So I'm going to save this and run. And let's just pay attention how long this takes. So you can see how it's taking quite a while, and I'm not sure how long this is actually going to take, and even I'm not sure if this is actually going to finish this script, because all Google scripts have a time limit how long you can execute a script, and if you run out of that time, it will just stop the script and just tell you that you can't run a script for that long. But so far we're waiting. It's been probably at least 30 seconds, maybe even more. And I'm running out of patience at this point. So I'm just going to cancel this. Let's just see how far that got us. So I'm going to go here. That's our profit. Control down. And there I am. So we're in row 291. So if I do control down again, see we have about 5,000 rows. All this time we've been running this, we were able to get to row 291, and that's pretty much it. And this operation is not even that complicated. All we're doing, we're just grabbing two numbers and we're just subtracting them for about like 5,000 rows of data. So hopefully that shows you how inefficient so far this is. So the reason this is inefficient is that every time you have to use this get range or set value, it has to go to the spreadsheet and get that information. And that just slows down the script the more times you have to do this. So you have to try to limit in your script the number of times you're getting something from the spreadsheet and number of times you're putting something back to the spreadsheet. Now in this particular case, we're getting some information here, right? Well, actually we're setting some information here, but over here our loop runs from 2 to 4,989. So what is that? About 5,000 times, a little less than that. So we run this about 5,000 times, and every time out of those 5,000 times, we have to get this value from this cell, get this value from this other cell, and set the value to this cell, which will make our script incredibly slow. So now let's transform the script in the right way of creating scripts and see how using an array will improve this. So I'm going to just delete this entire for loop. We'll still use this set value to make our profit. So I'm just going to create variable data, and my data is going to be simply just get the information from these two columns because I need sales numbers and cost of goods numbers. And I'm going to do that from my active sheet. I'm going to do get range. And the starting row is row 2. The starting column is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 2 and 5. Now, the number of rows we have to do, it's going to be, well, the total number of rows here is 4,989, and we have one row of labels, so That makes it 4,988. And then how many columns? So I wanted to get sales and cost of goods, this two. So 2 columns. And we're gonna do get values to get it to an array, and the array is gonna be this data. So as a result of this, we will grab this range starting from here, these 2 columns, and all the way down, and put it inside of an array. Let's now do our operation. So we're going to do our operation using map method. And because map method returns a new array, we will have to create that variable. Maybe I'll call this profit. So that's this. And inside of this map, we're going to create a function. And since it's going to be a pretty simple operation, I'm not going to create a separate function. I will do a function with no name right inside of this bracket. This function will pass the parameter, which will be the row. So each row will be that parameter. I'm just going to do R for row. And that function is going to return. So what does it have to return? It has to return sales minus cost of goods. And for me, that's going to be an array. And the first column in that array is going to be sales numbers. And the second column in that array is going to be our cost of goods numbers. So to get to the first column, I'm going to do R0. I'm going to subtract R1, which is the second column. And we need to return this as an array, because we need to return it as a row. So I'm going to do a semicolon here and save this. So if this entire map thing isn't clear to you and you're not sure why I have to return an array here, then go back and watch the previous part. That's where I cover map function and I explain why this works the way it works. And this one, this is going to be it. I'm going to return a new array, and in that array I'm going to just take the first column and subtract the second one. And then finally I have to take that profits, and this profits is going to be an array of all those results, and I'm going to have to place it in this column over here in I column. And to do that, I'm going to go to my active sheet. I'm going to do get range. Now we have to first, extra parentheses there, the first row. So we're going to start from the second row over here. And this is going to be, let's see, column number 9. So that's second row and 9. And then we have to see how many rows that is and how many columns that is. So the number of rows and number of columns we will just calculate automatically by getting the length of this array. So I'm going to do profits.length. And then I'll do profits and I'll get the first element in that array, which will be the first row. And if I check how many things I have inside of that first row, that should give me the number of columns. And then I have to use set values property to finally use this profits array and place it on my spreadsheet. So I'm going to save this. Now let's take a look. See, it's empty. Let's try to run this and see what we get. So I'm going to run this. So it took probably less than 5 seconds or so. Let's go back and see what happened. So here, control down, we're done. So that's how much faster it was using an array instead of the regular way of doing this. Hopefully that gives you an idea of why using arrays is important, because once you move out of really small data sets, then not using array is not even an option. So let's try another one. Just for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to clear these two columns. And we'll try to take this location column and split it into two columns. We'll make a new column city and another column state. And we'll have to take this Columbus, Ohio, split it by, comma, and place the state here and city here. So go back to this. I'm going to start by, well, I guess we're not going to be setting the labels because I already have them in here, but that's really not the big deal here. So the first thing we need to do, we need to just get this locations to an array, right? So we're going to do that by taking, which column is this? Column 7. So it's still going to start from the second row. It's going to be column 7, still the same number of rows. And now we need one column instead of two columns. That's going to be my data. And it's going to be this entire column of values. So now that I have the data, I will have to create a new variable. I'll call this results. And for now, I'm just going to clear this. So again, we're going to go in the data, which is this, that column of values, an array. And we're going to use our map function on that. And we're going to pass a row R as a variable. So now that function should do what? It should split those values. And to get to the variable in that row, we're going to get to R0. R0 in here will be the first element. So since we have just one column, that's the way we're going to get to it. If we have two columns, we would do R1 to get to column 2 and R2 to get to column 3, right? But we have only one column, so we're going to have to do R0 to get to that value in that column. Now, that value that I'm going to get is going to be this text. And what I need to do in this text, I need to split it using the comma. And I can do it using a native JavaScript split function. And I'm going to split it by comma. And I think there was a space there. Yeah. Perfect. That's what I'm going to be looking for to split this. And when I split that, it's going to give me an array. And that array is going to be, well, one is going to be the first one, and the second one is going to be the second one inside of that array. The first one is the city. So if I want to get the city, I will have to do the first one, which is the 0. So this entire thing is going to give me the city. So let's just return this. And I have to return that, if you remember, inside of an array, so that we have the row structure in Google Sheets. So I'm going to create this. That's my results. And then what I'm going to do, we're going to place this in here. So which column is that? That's column 8. Still starting in that second row. And now we're going to use variable results. We'll calculate the length and the length here, and it should figure out how many columns and rows we have there. And we're going to put our results here back to our spreadsheet. So let's so far see how well this went. I'm going to run this. It took literally a couple of seconds, and I have all of these. And then I'm missing the state. So to do the state, remember, this is an array. That's what I'm getting. And in this array, I have this first row. That gave me the city. Now I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to do a comma because I need a second column, and paste that second column here. And I'm still getting the same value in this row. I'm splitting by this comma space, but instead of after splitting the comma space getting the first thing, which is going to be the city, I need to get the second thing, which is going to be the state. So I'm going to change this 0 to 1. And because I use length here, I don't need to recalculate anything or really change anything here. I should be able to just run this. There it is, just a few seconds, and this is done. Now, if I try to do this with a for loop, again, like the previous example with subtracting numbers, that would take forever. So hopefully that gives you an idea why you use arrays and that you need to use arrays. And that's pretty much all I have for this video. Thanks for watching, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.